All right, let's get into it. So right now, I want to talk a little bit about safety and the 180 rule. So one of the big things about this sport is about the safety. Obviously, it's the #1 rule, and it should be the #1 rule when you have a firearm. It should not matter if you're in the sport or not. But when it comes to the sport, the 180 seems to be a very, very big topic for a lot of folks. And one of the reasons that the 180 is a big issue is because a lot of people allow the ROs to be the deciding call, instead of you making sure 100% that they don't even have an opportunity to make a 180 call. Now, that all comes down to you as a shooter stage planning and understanding the easiest and the best way to keep the gun from breaking the 180. So let's just talk a little bit about the 180. The reason why most people break the 180 is because they're trying to go fast. Well, there isn't a single drop of time on the planet that is faster than a DQ. If you get a DQ, it doesn't really matter how fast you went because you're no longer in the match. So right away, there is no time that you're gonna save that's worth a disqualification, period. Let's just start with that. Let's talk a little bit about angles. All right, so I'm gonna do a couple of examples here. I'm gonna do some coming up range, and then I'm gonna do some going right to left angles so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So let's start with the up range start. So if I'm up range and I need to take my gun and run basically towards the crowd, away from down range from the targets that I'm shooting, this is some couple of techniques that you're looking for, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of run straight up, run around the corner here, and then set up for the next target, and I'll talk about a couple of different little things that I work on. So first thing, I'm just gonna kind of exit off this target here. Bang. First thing I wanna do is I wanna throw the gun away from me. I don't want the gun going with my hips. One of the biggest mistakes people do is they don't realize that the way the hips face is usually the way they want to run. They want to run with the gun facing the hips. Well, right now I'm up range. I'm actually pointing the gun up range when I'm trying to exit here. So the goal here is to always throw the gun as far away downrange as you can. So as I exit this position, I'm going to throw the gun actually backwards. So when I throw the gun backwards, it gives me an opportunity to just focus on watching where I'm going. I don't have to worry about the gun anymore. The other thing is the farther away from me the gun is, the easier it is for the RO to see. Anytime you have the gun super tight to your body, and the RO can't really see the gun, it's kind of a questionable call. Now they can't see it, they're gonna assume that you're sweeping yourself, you're sweeping your body, you're pointing the gun the wrong direction. But if the gun is completely far away from you, like this, as I run up range, there's no way that I can sweep myself. There's no way that RO can't see that the barrel is pointed all the way down range and not near me. So I'm gonna give you another example that I see a lot is when people run, they like to run with the gun pointed down in this direction. Now, here's part of the issue. When you run, your arms don't go out, they go in. So what happens is you end up crossing your body with the gun when you run. So if you turn and you point your hips up range, no matter what you do, you're going to be DQing going up range. This is why dragging the gun is the best opportunity to keep the gun away from you, and the RO can see it fully and know that it's not even close to your body and you cannot DQ. Let's talk a little bit about kind of entering up range and kind of going around a corner. So one of the things that you're gonna see here is as I come around this corner, you always have to clear your body around the wall first. You do not ever want the gun to be in front of your body when you're coming up range. And actually, I'm gonna move you here a little bit so you can kind of get a better angle on this wall. So if you look at the wall here, I'm coming up range to come to the corner towards you. If I come around the corner and the gun is in front of my body, I just broke the 180. So what you have to do, or what you should do, is you're always keeping the gun behind you when you're coming up range. So if I'm coming up range, if you notice, look what's in front of me, the gun is behind me, the wall is behind me, so now I can start to turn, and now I can start to bring the gun up and get into the position to shoot. But if I come around with the gun first and I lead with the gun, I've broken the 180. Again, you're already DQ'd. Doesn't matter how fast you got around the corner with the gun. So I'm gonna move you over to this side of the stage. So you're gonna see the same exact entry on this one, but I'm gonna show you a full entry and how I clear the wall and then I come up onto the target. So I'm coming off the wall. If you watch, I've cleared the wall with my body first. gun, and then I'm going to actually turn my hips. So when I turn my hips, as soon as I go to get the gun picked up, there's no way I can DQ because the gun, my body, everything is facing the target downrange. Where a lot of people make mistakes is they come in, they clear the wall, and then they start to pick up the gun right now. And they haven't even started to face the targets. If you start to notice, or you will start to notice, that the way your hips are, the gun wants to go that direction. So if you really focus a lot on how your hips are faced, so if I'm facing the opposite direction, like if I'm going up range, I want the gun behind me. If I'm facing up range or down range, now I can pick up the gun because I'm facing down range. If I'm coming straight, like right now, you're the side of the stage. If I start to pick my gun up and my hips aren't facing down range, I'm going to DQ. Almost every single time somebody picks up their gun, the gun crosses their body. If you look, you're gonna kind of see, I just broke the 180 because the gun crossed across my left shoulder. There's the 180 break. So again, I wanna clear the wall completely. I wanna face down range before I even think about getting the gun. I'm gonna pick the gun up and then I'll step into the final position before the wall clears so I can shoot, and that's the way it's gonna be faster. The focus always needs to be that the gun is behind you when you're coming up range. All right, now, let's do a little left to right here, or right to left, excuse me, because that's one of the more difficult positions that a lot of people struggle with, okay? So if I want to run from right to left, all right, and I need to gain a little bit of a distance, it's the same concept except for my hips are going to the left, okay? I'm not going to be going up range, so I'll show you what I mean. My hips are going to go right to left, so that means I'm going to turn and run towards you. I want you to watch how the focus is to throw the gun away from me and down towards the ground. Pretty hard to DQ if the gun is pointed down at the ground, not straight down, but down range and towards the ground. It's very, very difficult to sweep yourself. It's also very, very difficult to sweep the gun past you in the front of you because the gun is always pointed at the ground and you won't lift it up in front of your body. Give you an example here. So it's gonna be here, I'm gonna shoot, bang, I wanna throw the gun as I turn. Again, this is 3 or 4 steps, 5 steps, something a little bit longer distance, throw the gun away, and then I'm gonna turn the hips before I even think about picking up the gun, turn the hips to the target, turn, set up, and then shoot. I'm not going to come into position with the gun here, turn, and then try to spin because I guarantee you it's a 180 break. Another little quick tip and a thing that I like to do is I really like to keep the gun in my face to where I can see what it's doing. So when I run up range, I keep the gun in my face up here when I'm running. I don't really pump my arms. It's not necessary. We're not sprinters. Most of the time when we run, we don't run super long distances like a sprinter. So if I'm coming in and I'm gonna come into the position, what I would like to do is go bang. I like to keep the gun here, and then it keeps me right into a press out position so I can go right into it. A lot of the times, if I have a tight spot where there's a wall, I throw it at the ground and I stay within those fault lines, within those 3 or 4 feet that they give me, and I throw it and I just run with it down on the ground like this, but I never get in front of my body and I never get behind my body while I'm running. I just keep it pressed down and I cannot keep that arm stiff, and I might pump my left arm, but I mean, I don't even think about running at this point. I just think about what the 180 does and I just run to the next position. Remember, it's always keeping the firearm down range at all times. Whatever the entry is, whatever the exit is, it's always gun last. So I want to turn, bodies first, get around the wall, then turn, bring the body up. Same thing, right to left here. It's bang, gun down, pick up after I've turned the hip. So as I'm turning the hip, the gun's down range, I rotate in and then come up to the shooting position. If you focus on keeping the gun pointed down range every single time you exit, you don't even have to think about it anymore. All right, if you have any questions, hit me up in those comments, and I'll see you on the range.
Let's go!